Well, Donald Trump just gave Social Security a $1 trillion gift, and I don't think he realizes it. We're going to talk about that today, and if you're receiving Social Security benefits, retirement, survivor, or disability benefits, this definitely affects you. It's going to affect your check in the future. If you're about to file for any of those benefits, this also affects you as well. This is an important update with some new information that has just come out in the last couple of days, so we're going to discuss how that affects your Social Security. My name is Ed Weir. I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and in my semi-retirement, I'm helping you all make sure you get all the benefits you are eligible for, entitled to, paid into, and earned. Let's talk about Trump's campaign promises, specifically the ones focused on Social Security. Some of the things that would have directly affected Social Security are related to mass immigration, specifically kicking undocumented immigrants out of the country. As we all know, undocumented immigrants pay into taxes, including Social Security taxes. They work under fake Social Security numbers or ITINs. We're even talking about people who were in the country legally for a while, like college students who come over to study, stay, get married, and then get divorced but remain. There are many reasons people are in the country when they're not supposed to be, but they still have a Social Security number, fake or real, and they pay into the system. All the estimates are that they pay over $30 billion a year into Social Security. Because they're not in the country legally, they will never get that money back. I don't care who tells you different. They will not get retirement benefits, disability benefits, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, or Medicare. They are not eligible to get Medicaid in most cases, though some states provide health insurance to undocumented people, but that's not for Medicaid funds. There's an exception for emergencies, of course, as emergency rooms don't check your papers. So, over $30 billion is essentially donated to Social Security every year. If one of these individuals decides to walk into a Social Security office at age 62, 65, or 67, they have to prove they are in this country legally. I've taken hundreds of thousands of Social Security claims, and I can tell you, they must show proof. If you're a U.S. citizen, you have your birth certificate. If you're not born in the United States, you need a certificate of naturalization or a green card. The Social Security employee processes that through a system called SAVE, which verifies the document's validity. If you don't have any of that, you aren't getting anything. It's cut and dry. All those billions of dollars paid into Social Security are a donation that helps the trust fund. If there were to be a mass deportation of these undocumented immigrants, that would have taken $30 billion out of the Social Security Administration's incoming revenue to the trust fund every single year. Over 10 years, that's $300 billion. The other campaign promise he made was no taxes on Social Security benefits. This isn't happening in the current proposal, but if it had passed, that would be another significant hit. Currently, about 50% of people don't even pay taxes on their Social Security benefits anyway because they are in a lower income bracket. So, this wouldn't affect the people who really need the money most. But if that tax were eliminated, it would take about another $60 billion out of the Social Security Trust Fund on a yearly basis. The taxes people pay on their benefits go to the IRS, which then turns that money over to Social Security, and it goes into the trust fund. So, basically, Trump's campaign plan, if it had passed, would have taken about $1 trillion over 10 years out of the Social Security Trust Fund. That would have affected everyone's benefits. Right now, we are looking at cuts to Social Security around 2034. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget has a graph showing this. Because our politicians haven't been forced to solve the trust fund depletion over the last few decades, it's our fault and their fault. We've had 30 years to fix this, but we've failed. As a result, we're going to get cuts because the trust fund is going to run out. Right now, a certain amount of money comes into Social Security, and a larger amount goes out. The trust fund, our savings, covers that gap. It's just like a household budget. If you have less money coming in than going out, you have to dip into your savings. Social Security is dipping into its savings, called the trust fund. People often say the trust fund is fake money, but if you're receiving Social Security, about 8% of your check comes from that trust fund. That trust fund is being depleted, and as of right now, it's projected to be fully depleted by 2034. When that happens, we're going to get a 20% cut because there's no more savings. If Trump had fulfilled his campaign promises on these issues, that would have cut $1 trillion out, depleting the trust fund about 3 or 4 years earlier and likely leading to steeper cuts, perhaps around 30%. But fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, he didn't. He changed his tune in the last couple of days. You probably saw the video about his new policy. In a recent statement, he addressed farmers and the hotel and leisure business. He said we're not targeting them. In fact, he noted that farmers are being hurt badly because they have good workers who have been with them for 20 years. They may not be citizens, but they've been great workers. He said we have to do something about that because we can't take all their people and send them back. He emphasized using common sense immigration reform. Then, he came out with a Truth Social post, clarifying that the problem isn't undocumented immigrants in general, but those in particular states or cities he doesn't like. He's going to focus on what he called Democratic power centers, like Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago. The implication is that there will be a mass exodus out of those cities. But where will they go? They're not going to go back to their country. They're just going to go to other cities, likely more Republican-leaning areas. They're still going to be in the country, and they're still going to pay into Social Security. So, this trillion-dollar gift is the preservation of that income stream for the trust fund. Now, someone might say I should talk about Social Security and not politics. We need to understand the difference between politics and partisanship. I talk about politics, which is the process of governing, making decisions on public issues, and involves debate, negotiation, and compromise. Partisanship, on the other hand, is rigid loyalty to a political party over compromise, focusing on winning and defeating the other side, regardless of the issue. I don't do partisanship here. If a president does something good for Social Security, I'll say so. It's great that President Trump has said he's not going to touch Social Security, which is a good thing because many congressional Republicans want to raise the retirement age and cut benefits. However, on the other side, Social Security needs to be touched. It needs to be fixed, because if it's not, the trust fund will run out, and we'll all face cuts. I, and most viewers on my channel, believe that raising the retirement age is not the way to do it. There are so many other ways. Speaking of complexities, many people face challenges with the system, like overpayments. I recently received a question from someone who got an overpayment letter and wants to negotiate a lower repayment than the 50% stated. The answer is yes, 100%. The policy on this has been changing rapidly. In March, the letter would have said 10%, but after March 27th, it said 100%. Now, it's 50%. You can request a payment plan of up to 60 months, a new policy that came about after a 60 minutes expose on overpayments. You can contact Social Security, and if you agree with the overpayment, you can set up a plan over the phone. It's much easier than it was a year ago. Another common concern is the use of illegal Social Security numbers. People wonder if those using these numbers can illegally obtain benefits in the future. The answer is no, because they would have to provide valid identification in that person's name to prove legal status. This is one of the many reasons I tell everyone to set up a My Social Security account at ssa.gov. If someone is working under your number, those earnings will show up on your record. While it might temporarily increase your projected benefit, once they are caught, those earnings will be removed, and you'll be told you were overpaid and have to pay that money back. It's crucial to check your earnings record regularly, especially for young people, as mistakes are much harder to fix decades later. The core problem with the trust fund's future isn't that money was stolen, as some myths suggest. Every penny is accounted for in the annual Social Security Trustees Report. The money is held in U.S. Treasury bonds, the safest investment in the world. The real problem is that our funding mechanism is outdated. If you make millions or billions of dollars, you're not paying Social Security tax like the rest of us. Regular folks pay FICA tax on every dollar they make, but once you earn over the annual cap, around $176,100, you stop paying into Social Security for the year. More and more wealth is concentrated at the top, meaning a larger portion of the nation's income is not subject to Social Security tax. If we simply eliminated that cap, the system would be funded for decades, and we could even increase benefits for those who are struggling. The system's rules on family benefits are also incredibly complex, leading many to lose out on money they've earned. For example, many people don't know about independently entitled divorced spouse benefits. If you're divorced, your ex-spouse is at least 62, and you were married for 10 years and have been divorced for 2, you can claim benefits on their record even if they haven't filed for benefits yet. So many people think they have to wait for their ex to file, and they lose years of payments they are entitled to. I always tell people to take the Social Security policy reference with them to the office to ensure they get the correct information, as even frontline staff are not always aware of this rule. For those on disability, there are also common misunderstandings. You can receive Social Security Disability, SSDI, and also apply for spousal or survivor benefits if you're eligible. Many are afraid to do this, thinking it will jeopardize their disability status or their Medicare. That's incorrect. Your disability benefit continues, you just get the extra money from the other benefit, and your Medicare remains intact because your disability entitlement continues. Let's look at some specific situations. One person asked if their benefits will increase if they continue working after starting to collect Social Security. The answer is possibly. Social Security calculates your benefit based on your highest 35 years of earnings. Each year you work, the system automatically checks if that year's earnings are higher than one of your previous 35 years. If so, it kicks out the lowest year, adds the new higher year, and recalculates your benefit. Your check will go up automatically, including back pay to January of that year. Another question came from a woman who is 62 and divorced. Her first husband passed away, she remarried, and is now divorced again. She wants to know if she can get survivor benefits from her first husband. The answer is yes. Since she is now single, she can claim survivor benefits on her deceased ex-spouse record. She mentioned she receives a pension from the Texas Retirement System, TRS. Previously, the Government Pension Offset, GPO, would have likely wiped out any Social Security survivor benefit. However, with the recent passage of the Social Security Fairness Act, GPO and the Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP, no longer apply, so she is now likely eligible. She should make an appointment with a claims specialist to find out the exact benefit amount and decide if it's better to take it now at a reduced rate or wait until her full retirement age to get 100%. One viewer on disability, receiving about $937 a month, had a child and was told she couldn't get benefits for her child. This is likely due to the family maximum. Based on a person's earnings record, there's a maximum amount that can be paid out to the entire family. If her benefit is already at or near the family maximum, there might not be any additional money available for a child's benefit. However, she was given incorrect and unprofessional information, so she did the right thing by formally filing an application. It's taking a long time, so she should contact her congressional representative to get a fire lit under the agency to make a decision. If it turns out her child is eligible, she should demand back pay to the date she first inquired, since she was given misinformation.